What's up, guys? We are back with another Mythic Legions Wasteland review. Today we're taking a look at the big guy in the wave. We're taking a look at our latest Ogre scale figure, Argemedes, so the big Cyclops guy. We've got this guy here in our standard Ogre scale box for the line, so larger format box with a huge wraparound spread from Nate Barch as far as the artwork goes. So you got the figure there in the window, Legion's logo down there on the bottom. He's got a bio on the side and all that beautiful artwork that wraps around, and then you've got a little bit of a write-up for Mythos. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Ogre scale Cyclops Argemedes from the Wasteland wave of Mythic Legions. A figure that I would say most people have been impatiently waiting for quite a long time, myself included, because, I mean, well, just look at him. And there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. If you're familiar with the Ogres, you're probably not going to be too surprised by this guy, outside of the fact that he, has a few differences as far as the visuals go. He's still the same kind of figure, but we all know that they're pretty awesome figures. So let's jump right in and see what this guy can do. He is standard as far as articulation goes for this subline of figures. So you've got a head that can look up. The helmet is going to play a little bit of a factor in terms of just moving him around. He can look down, he can bobble side to side pretty well, and then you've got full rotation. Arms go out at the shoulder. It is a ratchet joint. They swivel all the way around. You've got a single jointed rotating elbow, again standard. You've got rotating and hinging wrists. The gauntlet will kind of get in the way of it moving outwards, but it moves inwards just fine. You've got a big monster ball peg that goes up into the chest from the crotch, so you can swivel side to side, you can bobble back and forth, and then you can send him way far back and forward. The only thing that's really going to limit him is just the crotch piece here. Legs go out, another ratchet joint, and then they kick forward pretty much all the way. They don't kick back really too far because there is kind of a butt plate back here, and then you can rotate at the thigh. We've got a single rotating knee. These are the only joints on the figure that I had to heat up. I had to actually apply some hot water to the knees, and they were fine instantly. Otherwise, the figure didn't really have any stuck joint issues. And then at the ankles, you've got rotation, you've got rocker, and then you've got hinges down there as well. So he is pretty standard as far as these figures go. Nothing really getting in the way. Again, if you've messed around with any of the others, you are going to be fully prepared for how to pose and play with this guy. Now, it would not be a Mythic Legions review if I didn't spend probably too much time harping on how cool I think this thing looks, because as is the case for just about every single Mythic Legions figure, they excel for me personally in the looks department. It's all about the cool factor, and the Horsemen excel at making awesome looking figures in this line, and this guy is no different. He is, of course, a tremendous amount of parts reuse, and that's not surprising, but he is, I'd say from the neck down anyway, stuff we've already seen before. So he has the bare feet like Kurzog, he's got the shin guards like Kurzog, he has got the belt like the Legion Builder, they've got the same kind of harness, he's got the gauntlets that Kurzog has, but it all comes down to just the color choices and the palette swaps that they've done here to make him, of course, stand out. And then, of course, we've got to talk about this thing up here. But he does look fantastic. If you have any experience with the other three Ogre scale figures, then you know what you're getting into. He is quite large, and we'll do some size comparisons here shortly. There is a ton of sculpted musculature. The triceps are bulging on this guy. He's got a humongously muscled back. We've got some massive pecs, some huge biceps, tons of veins that are down in there. You've got great paint shading that's kind of like a sandy, almost green color that's on the underside of his arms, and then, of course, on his chest as well, just to make him kind of stand out a little bit more. It breaks up that black and gray color scheme that he has going on, because for the most part, the guy is a big gray ogre. It's mostly on his arms, down on his legs. His feet are really, really dark by comparison, and then his back is entirely gray. But this different color palette that starts at his chin and works his way down really helps to just kind of make him pop a little bit more, and he stands out more. Rather than looking maybe like a statue, he definitely sort of looks like he has a lot of skin detailing on him. And of course, it's got all of that hallmark Horseman sculpt, everything you expect to find, tremendous detail, just the finest little things that have been crammed into this figure, especially when it comes to the armor pieces. The harness is, of course, removable. You can pop the hands off, take the gauntlets off, that kind of thing. All of this, you can basically bring him down to pretty much a naked ogre. If you're if you're into that sort of thing, if you need a big naked ogre on your shelf. But of course, all of the armor is intricately detailed as well. The sculpt is second to none, and then everything that could be a possible different color is a different color. All of the the actual adornments that are on top of all the harnesses are all different. You've got browns and blacks and gunmetals and silvers and golds and bronzes all over this. The buckles are individually painted. You've got the big bones that hang down, which I love this detail on the crotch piece. You've got your big soft goods, and this is my preferred soft goods type when it comes to ogre stuff, because there's that other more hairy fabric, but this is the more kind of almost like a pelt in some ways, and I think it hangs a lot better, and it's also very big and bushy. It covers his big naked ogre butt as well, and just a ton of detail on this guy. It is, again, exactly what you expect, but when you get it in hand, it's really hard to not just sort of gush over how awesome this thing looks, from all of the intricate details all over the armor to just how they've laid out the color patterns on the body. But it goes without saying, I'm sure that a lot of folks are buying into this figure, well, because he looks awesome, but because of this head sculpt, because it is truly the area where he is the most unique. And it is, I mean, it's something else. I'm a big fan of the ogres to begin with. I love them all for various reasons. This guy, as far as his general aesthetic, is definitely my favorite just because he stands out so much. But it's a Cyclops with a crazy helmet on his head. So just to start at the base level, there is a tremendous amount of detail packed into that head sculpt, into that face, around the eye, a lot of craggy detail, a lot of wrinkles, a lot of texture. You've got that green sandy color almost that starts at the nose, runs down the chin. You've got some big monster tusks that stick out of his mouth. And then, of course, you've got the big bulging orange Cyclops eye, which is obviously one of the key factors and features of this guy. It really makes him stand out. It's really big and bright and vibrant. And then you've got this massive helmet on his head, which is just tremendously well sculpted, and it ties into his armor really well. It's got more of those bone spikes that stick out. They tie into the gauntlets and the shin guards, and then it's got just a really great pitted, nasty, detailed sculpt on it. And he does have kind of like a small Cyclopsian skull on the front of it. But what's really cool is you can pop this guy off and you can reveal his bald ogre head under there, which is very smooth and very dark, and it's exactly what you think it is. But if you really wanted to, you've now got the ability to maybe make this guy into something that isn't as unique as Argemedes. He could maybe be just a standard grunt ogre Cyclops in your legion. So I like the idea that that's removable. It gives you a little bit of a way to change him up and make him, or maybe if you have multiples, into something a little bit different. And here's a quick size comparison for just some other figures in the line, for maybe if you're not familiar with the ogre scale stuff. So we've got a 1.0 figure with one of the demons here. He is, of course, a little taller because of the horns, but you get an idea of just the size and the bulk. And then we've got a 2.0 figure, which you almost can't even see. So let's just sort of pan down there. And you can see that the 2.0 figure, Thistlethorn here, only comes up to his waist, and the demons come up to about his shoulders. So there is a huge disparity in terms of size here. He's not the biggest toy on your shelf, probably, but he is huge in comparison to other legions. But of course, beyond that, we do have larger scale Mythic Legion stuff. So here he is next to a troll, and again, it's more of the same, a night and day difference. So this guy is still huge on his own, but there's just really no comparison between the two. So you've got a wide array of character sizes when it comes to this particular line. This guy dwarfs just about every regular figure, but he himself is still dwarfed by the trolls. These things are in a league of their own. Now, as far as accessories go, this guy comes kind of with the standard fare for the ogre scale line. So you really only get one accessory. It is, of course, a modular accessory. You can sort of change it up as needed, but it's still only just this axe. So you can take it apart at various segments. You can take it apart right there. You can take the actual blade off. And of course, it is incredibly well detailed and sculpted and painted. We've seen this with other figures, like the Legion Builder Ogre comes with it, for example. It comes apart here, and then the bottom will come off as well. And you also get another piece. So you get all of these pieces to allow you to make it as small or as humongous, if you really want to, as needed. I do wish that these guys still came with something a little bit extra, or that this guy in particular came with something different, because he's supposed to be a blacksmith. He's not making any weapons with an axe, so I would have loved to have seen him come with maybe at least a hammer or something like that. But at the same time, you can still make him look incredibly awesome with this pretty ridiculously detailed axe. So overall, I mean, what else is there to say? This is another winning Mythic Legions figure. I'm a big fan of this Ogre scale subline, despite the fact that I've still not reviewed all of them. I keep pushing them back, but I couldn't wait on this guy. He just looks too cool, and he is as cool as he looks. He is, of course, a tremendous amounts of parts reuse, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. At least it's not to me. I understand why they do that, and I understand that it's kind of the name of the game, so it is what it is, but he looks fantastic, even though he uses stuff that we've seen in the other 3 Legion builders. That unique head sculpt, the helmet that he comes with, alone is honestly worth the price of admission to get something that is different enough while still being very familiar, and also has a tremendously different paint scheme compared to the other 3 Ogres. This guy, again, he just looks cool, and the Horsemen excel at making figures that look awesome and yet reuse parts that you are very familiar with. So if you didn't already order one of these, you should absolutely jump on him, because there is no doubt in my mind that he is going to be insanely popular once he gets more widespread. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legions Wasteland Argemedes. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.